Welcome to this week's Crush It in Sales podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet, and I'm a sales strategy and success coach. And thank you so much for listening. This is part 3 of my little social media series. The first one I talked about vision. The second one I talked about intention. And this one's going to be me sharing some tips. And they're just going to be in no particular order. There are going to be things that I have seen, so you may not agree. That's totally cool. You may have a different experience, or you just might want to try yourself, which is fine too. I think sometimes just listening to someone else's experience is good, and you just tuck it in your back pocket, and you still may decide to try it your way with your own belief system, which I completely agree with that thought process. And see how it goes, right? But at least you can be like, oh, hey, that did or didn't work for someone. And you know what? We'll see how it goes for me. I've done that many, many times. So feel free to take these little tips and nuggets any which way you like. And I would love to hear from you if you do end up trying some of this or agree, or you're like, oh, I've had the same experience, then feel free to give me a shout out. I will put my information in the show notes like I always do. So the first thing I want to share is just how my posts in general have really just been more of a process of learning what works and what doesn't work. And so these are really simple things, and both of these platforms that I'm really referring to, let's put it that way, is Facebook and LinkedIn. So I have noticed that when you put a link in Facebook or LinkedIn that takes you off the platform, those posts hardly get any views. It's consistent. I definitely believe this is true. So I don't do it as often as I used to do it. So I used to post like YouTube videos when I was doing Transformational Tip Tuesday, and I just noticed a pattern. So I actually stopped doing the YouTube Transformational Tip Tuesdays for 2 reasons. Number 1, time. And number 2, I just felt like I was constantly promoting some type of social media. And it was becoming, quite frankly, to me even, a little obnoxious. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got 2 podcasts, and I've got this YouTube video, then I've got Medium articles and books. And it was just like, oh, it was just like, okay, seriously, who the hell has time to listen or watch or read all this content from me, let alone, the rest of the universe is putting out tons of content too. So just in truth, like that's why I stopped that video. But that was one way that I started to recognize that no one was even seeing these videos. I only have a few subscribers, so this was truly not working by posting links in LinkedIn or Facebook. So what I do that I would recommend is when I have a Medium article, I will post it with great intention. However, my expectation just is knowing that, it's not going to get a lot of views. However, and this is the however, when someone pulls up my wall or, pulls up my account, they can see that I'm a writer and they can see those articles there. I do believe that that is really important, that you have like this running history of what you're all about and what you do. And I pull up people's walls all the time when I'm researching someone. I always do. And when I pull up someone's wall and I see that they don't really have any content, they're just tagged in a bunch of other people's posts. Sometimes those counts are fake, or I feel like, okay, do you even have anything going on that you want to talk about yourself or share? There's just a lot of posts out there that are just like tagging, and they're not really like compelling posts. So you want your wall to be compelling, to be a great mixture of what you're about, whether it's, personal and business or a mix of the two. I try to have just a really great mix. So I do end up posting links that take you off the platform, but I just have a different mindset around them and a different expectation. The other thing I want to talk about, because this comes up with a lot of my coaching clients that are trying to increase their presence on social media, is this is really, some of you may be like, yeah, Melinda, we totally know this, but believe me, a lot of people don't. Make sure your bubble is you. Not like some like icon, not like a dog. Make sure it's you. And if it's not you, like, why isn't it you? Why isn't it you? Show your beautiful face. Show your beautiful face. And make it a recent picture. It is really tough out there. I know people judge themselves. You may not like how you look, but honestly, we're harder on ourselves than other people are on us. And it's actually more like, whoa, when you hop on a Zoom call with someone and their picture that they have in their bubble is from 20 years ago. Like, just be you. It's totally cool. And get comfortable with that energy, because if you're not loving your pictures of what you have going on, whether it's the bubble or other posts, that energy is not going to serve you online. Believe me. I've been there. If you listen to my podcast, I've talked about this before, how I really struggled with the intro of the Good Karma Success Coach podcast for a very long time. After a marketing coach had revised it, I didn't like it. And all I needed to do was put in one little sentence, and it changed the whole energy of my podcast and felt more authentic to me. But here I was judging, and I brought down the whole energy. This is real. Like, think about it too with your posts. Did you comment on a post that you're like, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't have commented. I really don't want to be involved in that, whether it's politics or something else that's controversial, then don't comment. And if you did it by mistake because you had a keyboard warrior moment, hide it, take it down, delete it. Seriously. Make sure that all of your energy behind your posting is positive. So whatever work you need to do around that, I know this is a really big topic. This is probably its own podcast. Do that work and think about how you can best shift that energy. But often what I have learned is people don't have their beautiful faces in their bubble is because of some type of self-judgment. No one else is judging you. You're judging yourself more than other people are judging you. The other tip that I'm going to give, and this is in regards to Facebook, is the amount of friends you have. Oh my goodness, this was a huge learning. I know I've talked about this before, but I can't remember where. But I went from having pretty much zero friends when I got on Facebook a couple years ago to having over 4,000 friends at the beginning of 2022. So I got the app. It's it's not an app, but it's a filter. It's called Friend Filter, and I will put the link in the show notes. It's actually an affiliate link. It's kind of a pricier thing to buy. I'm not going to lie. I think it's $250, but honestly, it's really worth it. And it cleaned up friends. It cleaned up fake accounts, people I had accepted, and who knows what I accepted, right? Because I was trying to grow my Facebook account. And at the time I thought, gosh, the more friends, the merrier. Yeah, no. The less friends, the merrier. So now I keep around 1,200. I think that's a good number. So I'm really clean. I just used that. I'm just going to call it an app. The other day as well, for a couple days in a row, I used it to clean up names until it became the names that I do want to keep. So obviously I was there. But, clean up people. Clean them up. There is fake accounts. There are people that are not active. There are people that you're like, why am I connected to this person? That's okay. You're not saying anything bad about them. You're just like, why am I connected to them? Clean it up so your algorithm is better and you see more people in your feed. And the last tip that I want to share in this podcast is you do not need to be posting every day. You really don't. I know I've heard other coaches say this too, and I agree. I completely agree. You do not need to post every day. Honestly, nowadays, if you post every day and you post several times a day, and then someone ends up liking or commenting on your posts, what happens is the algorithm obviously shows more of their posts, right? So even though you may love this person, they may be your best friend, they may be your mom, oh my gosh, but your feed ends up being all of their posts and not all these other people that you also should be connecting with, right? And quite frankly, it's kind of annoying. Yep, it's kind of annoying. Let's be real. So I definitely had that happen on Twitter. Twitter is, oh goodness gracious, what a messed up platform. And yeah, I actually had to like unfriend some people that I didn't want to unfriend, but I had to, just because Twitter kept showing me their 20 posts a day. And I was like, no, I want a more varied feed. So don't be that person. Just be intentional. Like my other podcast, I talk about it, being intentional. Share compelling content and let it roll from there, people. Let it roll from there. So that's all I'm going to keep on this podcast today. I hope you enjoy it. I would love to hear your tips as well. And again, if any of these strategies speak to you, that is cool. If they don't, that's cool too. But thank you so much for listening. Until next week, I hope you crush it in sales and crush it in social media. Have a good one.